Hi, it's Holly K Makes, and today I'm making a pizza dough, and I'm going to use some sourdough discard. So this is my sourdough starter. I haven't named it yet, so if you have any ideas on a great name for a sourdough starter, please put it in the comments below. A sourdough starter is literally flour and water, honestly. And what you do is you mix flour and water together in a 1-to-1 ratio. Then every night you pour out half of what you have and then you feed it again. This is my discard. And I'm just gonna take what I have in here and pour out some. Okay, and then I'm gonna put it back on my scale. I have a scale here. I think it's the easiest way to measure it out. What you're going to do is do the same weight of water as you're gonna do the same weight of flour. So I'm going to use a big spoon. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little flour and just spoon it in. I'm using grams here. I'm going to do 50 grams. Okay, 56 grams. And then I'm going to add in the same weight of water. So I'm going to hit tare so it looks like 0 on my scale. And then I'm going to pour in about the same amount of water. That's pretty good. Now I'm going to stir that up with my spoon. I'm using all-purpose flour here. For the pizza dough, I'm going to use the 00 flour. A little more water there. So you really have to, before it's ready to use as its own yeast, you really have to feed it probably 6 or 7 days in a row. Once you have done that 6 or 7 days in a row and it started bubbling up, you'll notice that it's like super bubbly and it'll be rising. Then you're gonna wanna test it in some water. We'll do that in another video. But for today, we're going to make a sourdough starter discard pizza dough. I'm just gonna set the sourdough starter aside and I'm going to shift gears. I'm gonna take my sourdough discard here. I'm going to pour out this water. I'm going to get some warm water. So this recipe calls for 1 cup and 1/3 of water with the yeast. And I'm going to do 1 cup of warm water and 1/3 cup of the sourdough discard. So first thing I'm going to do is put this in here, put this warm water. I'm just going to put this on stir. Going to stir this for a couple seconds. Now I'm just going to let it kind of stand here. I'm going to go ahead and add 1/3 cup of this. So right away, if your yeast is good, you should start seeing bubbles in the water mixture. I am riffing off of a pizza dough recipe from The Joy of Cooking. The idea is that if you want to use a sourdough starter discard in any of your baking, you sort of use it to replace some of the liquid. As always, I like to do a little drinking while I bake, and I'm drinking the Atmosphere non-alcoholic beer, which I am kind of obsessed with. Cheers. Okay, so I've got that really bubbly, which is exciting. Now I'm going to take our 00 pizza flour. 00 flour is an Italian flour. It's perfect for making your own homemade pasta or pizza dough, or anything really that you prefer to be more Italiano. So now I'm going to add 3.5 cups of flour. You can also do this with all-purpose flour. This is my first time using 00 flour, and I'm hoping to also make some pasta at some point. It's really fun to make homemade pasta. It's super easy. It's only really 2 ingredients and a roller. So I've added 3.5 cups of flour. I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of olive oil. That's 2, give or take. Now I'm going to add some salt. That's just a strong pinch, also known as a tablespoon. Should I give it a little more strong pinch? And then there is the optional add of sugar if you want. I'm going to add like a pinch of sugar. The optional amount you can add is a tablespoon. I'm just gonna do a nice little pinch. I'm going to stir this on like a 2 until it comes together Ooh, I can smell the olive oil. It smells so good. Okay. Once it basically comes together, you can take the whisk off of your stand mixer. My stand mixer is my favorite thing that I ever got for Christmas. It makes all the baking that you want to do so much easier. Highly recommend. Nothing like any tool that allow you to be hands-free for a little while is the best kind of tool. Now I'm going to replace that with the dough hook. And now we're going to let this knead on low for about 10 minutes. You can also do this by hand if you want to knead by hand. It's probably the same amount of time, about 10-15 minutes. While we're kneading this, I'm going to add olive oil to this bowl. Yesterday, so for Christmas this year, my son got a VR. He was trying to play this game online called Gorilla Tag. And he was having trouble figuring out the controls. So he was like, "Mommy, can you help me?" So here I am, I put the thing on, right? Holding the handles, like trying to get through, pretending to be a gorilla. And I get into this game and it is all children playing tag, like legitimately. I didn't realize that they could all hear me. And I'm like, I have no idea what's going on. And then I start hearing, is somebody's mom playing this game? It's like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm like so old. And I had a kid come up to me and like start flipping me off. Okay, the gorilla has 3 fingers, right? 1 is a thumb and 2 regular fingers. And he's like, with the middle one. It was so funny. I was like, you don't have to do that. It's not nice. And this other little kid came up to me. He must have been like probably 10 or 11. He was like, yo, how old are you? And I was like, I'm 43. I'm just trying to figure out how you play this game. He was like, okay, so. And then he starts explaining to me the rules of the game and being super kind about it. And after that, I was like, I realized I needed to leave. And so I did. But I just want to say to that one kind boy out there playing Gorilla Tag, I really appreciated your attempts to help me figure out how to play that video game. It's not something my son will be playing because he's only 6. Maybe in the future he can play that game if there are still kind people out there doing it. I never felt so old. At one point they're like, okay, Karen. I was like, my name's Holly. You don't have to call me Karen. You know, it reminds me of interviewing for jobs. And there's a moment where you realize, I don't think this is a good fit for me. I felt just like that in this video game. Oh my God. All right, I think we're good here. You want it to be doughy, but you don't want it to be sticky. I'm gonna get a little flour and sprinkle it in here and give it 1 time more around the bowl. So I'm gonna show it to you. Smooth, not too sticky. All right, so you can see like it's not coming off in my fingers. What I am gonna do next is, so we put the oil in this bowl. I'm going to roll this dough in this oil to kind of coat it. So the next thing we're gonna do is cover this bowl. I'm gonna use a cheesecloth. So I'm gonna cover this bowl with a cheesecloth. Now, we wait for this to rise. It's gonna take about an hour to an hour and a half. So I will come back and we will see what's next. And we're back. All right, so now this has risen to about double its size. So I'm going to, lightly dust a little flour on my work surface. So I have my scraper and I have my dough. I'm just gonna turn out the dough onto the counter here. Kind of pat it down. And I'm gonna cut it in half. Ish. And then I'm just gonna roll this ball up. And this one. Now I have 2 balls of dough. And I'm going to cover these with a little plastic wrap. I'm gonna cover each one. So I've just loosely covered these with a little plastic wrap. And now they're gonna sit for another 10 minutes. Siri, stop the timer. Okay, now that we've let the dough rest for 10 minutes, I'm gonna put them in, since I'm not making pizza today, I'm just gonna put them in freezer bags and stick them in the freezer, and then I'm gonna make pizza on another day when I have all the cheese that I need. So I'm just gonna write on here, pizza dough with sourdough discard. What's today's date? Got it. You're probably wondering, what does the sourdough discard change about the original recipe? And really all it does is it gives it a little tanginess that wasn't there before. So instead of it just tasting like an ordinary pizza dough, it'll have a little more, it won't have risen from the sourdough starter, it'll have more of a sourdough flavor. So wrap that in the plastic wrap that was on the board and stick this into my freezer bag. Try to take out as much of that air as I can. One of these days I want to get one of those bag sealers, the freezer bag sealer, or you can use it for sous vide. I have a sous vide. Anyway, I have a sous vide and I just need to use it because I've never tried using it before. And so I think the next time when I do a nice steak, I'll try to do it in the sous vide and we'll give it a go and see how it works. I am treating this like my test kitchen. So when I make pizza, I'll video it and I'll tell you how we did with the sourdough discard pizza dough. And also, you know, sometimes I don't expect everything to work perfectly every time. That's what happens when you take a recipe and you tweak it and you twist it and you try something new. So I'm expecting that sometimes it won't come out perfectly, and I will let you know if that is the case. Though I will say these smelled really good, and so I am expecting them to taste super yummy. But they're gonna go in the freezer now, and then we'll be done for today. I hope that you enjoyed Holly K Makes, and I'll be back with another video soon.